Is cortisol your friend or your foe? In my experience, I have seen cortisol as my friend and my foe. I think cortisol is like money. It can be used for good or for bad. It's like a brick. You can build a building or an orphanage, or you can use it to throw it through a window and break a window. So the answer is yes, both. But when cortisol stays high and elevated chronically, now you're running into issues. Every morning you wake up and you experience cortisol, and it's like, oh, cool, I'm getting my day going. Here comes my heart rate, here comes my respiration rate. One foot in front of the other, I feel joy, I feel elated, I feel purpose, I feel hope. That's cortisol. When that stays elevated chronically, when you're trying to slow down, when you're trying to think, when you're trying to focus, when you're trying to fall asleep, and you're experiencing high levels of cortisol, it's no longer your friend. It's actually physiologically affecting your body. Let me teach you how. High cortisol increases your respiration rate and your heart rate. It'll trigger things right here, like the barometer for your blood pressure, and cause high blood pressure. It can trigger things like headaches. It's also connected to your immune system. When cortisol stays elevated, your immune system goes down. That opens up the pathway for immunological issues. You're more exposed to bacteria, you're more susceptible to viruses, even abnormal cancer cells. Right here, this part is controlled to your, is connected to your brain. When you're in high levels of fight or flight mode or high levels of cortisol, you're no longer in your hindbrain, your thinking brain. You're right here in your prefrontal cortex, and it is illogical. If you've ever seen someone in fight or flight mode, they can speak with a lot of confusion. Very illogical. We would see things like ADD or ADHD also being right here, decreases your serotonin and neurotransmitter connectivity. It makes it really hard to capture thoughts. One of the other things that happens, this nerve right here is directly connected to your thyroid. So your adrenal gland is what produces the cortisol. When those things get bombarded and beat up, your thyroid has to take over. So your thyroid begins to work harder, but your thyroid, its job it's not sustainable enough to do that. And so it gets depleted. So your energy hormones go down, fatigue goes up, your metabolism slows down, and now you're experiencing things like weight gain. One of the other byproducts on the hormonal side of high cortisol is high cortisol in men and women will increase estrogen. Well, estrogen's a growth hormone. What does it make grow? Well, your midsection, right around the midline, right through here, the estrogen belt is what we'll call it, right below your navel, right through the upper thighs. Your body will gain adipose tissue. Fat cells will grow. So yes, cortisol can be your friend, and cortisol can be your foe. If you are experiencing abnormally chronic stress, extremely high levels of cortisol, we can't make stress go away. You don't live in a bubble. And there are a lot of helpful tools, therapies, therapists that can help with emotional stress and how to work through them, how to process emotional stress. And the other thing you want to do is help support your body. How do you do that? Well, you support your adrenal glands is how you do it. Things like minerals are really important in replenishing your adrenal glands. Adaptogen herbs helps your body adapt to stress. Things like ashwagandha and rhodiola. Finding a functional medicine doctor or an integrative doctor who can coach you through how to actually measure your cortisol throughout a given day, and then when to actually take the supplements, when to actually work out, when to actually do the things that'll help replenish your cortisol levels is the key to making cortisol more of your friend and less of your foe.